And they're like, this kit is made for lighting. Great. Clear windows, clear window inserts, I can light this. It didn't come with a hollow rod. Okay, well, yeah, I can go out and buy brass tube or steel tube or whatnot, but I shouldn't have to. What is up, plastic addicts? Welcome back to the SciFi Model Podcast, episode 2. Big milestone, made it through the first one. And today I want to talk about round 2 models, because there might be a bit of misconception that if you look at my various posts in isolation, it seems I'm constantly ragging on the company like I don't like round 2, which is not the case. I really like round 2. Round 2, re-releasing Trek kits that weren't available for years, was huge. And if you listen to the first episode, how modeling helped me work through grief and, process everything. I'm also not a simp for round 2. I'm not going to lie and be like something's good when it's really not good. And that's kind of where it comes from. And the criticism can come off seeming a bit harsh. And maybe it is, because I really like the company. I have high expectations for them because of things they've done in the past and things they've done currently that are really good, that are then kind of bookended by things that kind of aren't that great. So as far as round 2 goes, I'm only going to specifically talk about sci-fi models, of course. And I don't really have an opinion on the Star Wars or Space 1999, because I haven't really built them, with the exception of the Falcon from years ago when it was still the MPC. Before I get into it, I do want to say that I do think that what they're doing with the Star Wars line is great, because they're doing what they did when they started reissuing Trek kits, is making improvements. But the Falcon's a good example right now. My feeling that it's like 90% good. So they've reissued the Falcon. Now I haven't seen it because I'm in Canada, so it still hasn't arrived on shelves. It's usually a month behind the US release, give or take. Now, I know that they have redone the sides. They've added some details. They added a grille for the engine, is my understanding. But then they left the crappy cockpit. And, the cockpit's fairly visible. So you do all this work and then it's like, meh, good enough. And yeah, sure, you can buy a 3D printed aftermarket one. But when you're already spending money, I have a feeling this is going to be about a $100 model kit in Canada. And when you're spending that much money, then you gotta, I can go order it. Well, there's $20 plus $10 shipping. So there's another $30 on top of your $100 kit. To say nothing of paint, supplies, etc. And look, you can add photo etch and resin parts, or 3D print parts. But it's kind of an example of what I'm going to talk about today, and just being kind of, we're close. It's good enough. But I'm also going to talk about good stuff, like things they've done that are absolutely fantastic, like the 1350 Original Series Enterprise. It's a solid kit, and then they made changes. Originally, it was released with grid lines in the saucer, and they eliminated that. That's no small investment. So it's not like it's all bad. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good. I'm going to try to present a balanced approach. It's anecdotal, because it's my experience as a modeler with their products on specific models I have built. Now, will I be building the Star Wars lines? Absolutely. Are they going to be as good as Bandai? No, because they're reissues from the 70s and early 80s. It was a different time, and we're looking at a nostalgia factor, which is hard to quantify. So, yeah, I built the X-Wing before, but I've never done the B-Wing or the Y-Wing or any of the TIE fighters, and they're readily available. The price point I feel is a bit high for something that is fundamentally a reissue. Darth Vader's TIE fighter, they put a lot of work into tuning it up. I think the regular TIE fighter and the TIE Advanced and the B-Wing are just reboxed and reissued. So it's hard to justify the price for something you didn't have to do any R&D on. And yes, there's still packaging costs and shipping costs and and whatnot. But we're talking about a large enough company that scaling is something they can do. So it's not like they're paying the amount of shipping that you and I are paying. So, having said that, will I buy the Star Wars kits? Absolutely. I'm very keen to try them because I never got a chance to try them before, and it's like a second chance, and that's pretty awesome. But let me get into the Trek kits, and I'll do a little bit of preamble with my own experiences. So I can't say the years, but I figure about 2012 they re-released the Enterprise B and the K7 space station, and all the TOS kits, including the Romulan Bird of Prey, which was great because you hadn't seen it for, I hesitate to say decades, but over a decade for sure. Because I never saw it when I was building models in the 90s. I'm sure there were other ones, but they made some improvements. Not a whole lot. It was because you're just kind of getting started. But a few things. But immediately out the gate, you're dealing with, quite frankly, garbage decals. They were like glass, and I remember building the Romulan Bird of Prey, and they're just fracturing, which I'd never seen before. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Because in my head, I wasn't like, well, the company made a substandard product, and now that could simply come back to lack of quality control or, just more testing. But the fact is, I understand it's also important to get a product out. But anyway, so decals that were like glass that fractured easily, it was an ongoing issue. It took them a number of years to figure out, but it wasn't on every kit. It was kind of hit and miss because I built the K7, which was released around the same time, and although there was only a couple decals, they went on fine. So it seemed to vary, and of course you're finding your legs, you're reissuing. I don't know how young the company was at that point. So there's a number of factors that you take into account. And as time went on, they did some other stuff, and I know that the Excelsior re-release was very, very hotly anticipated because they made a number of changes. And they made what was a meh kit into a pretty good kit. Making the parts for the NX and the NCC, fixing that shuttle bay, making Aztec decals that were really good. And I want to say that's about 2016. So let's say like a 4-year period where there were some stumbles, but still a lot of great stuff. So you had that, and then you had a kind of a series, a number of model kits where they made them, and they made improvements. And like, okay, I like this trend. Like, hey, here's a nostalgia kit. We know there's problems. We're going to fix them. But that seemed to have stalled out in favor of just straight reissues. We'll talk about the new kits separately from that. After a while, it was just like, because about the same. I think it was before. Pardon me. Before the Excelsior, they did the 350 Klingon Bird of Prey, and they added the landing legs and different wing hinges. I might be wrong about that. I apologize. It might have always come with I think it originally came with 2 wing positions, flight mode and attack mode, and I think they added the landed mode, which they would have had to for the landing gear. And that's always been a popular kit. It was always a good kit, but they took a good kit and made it better. But then, like I said, there were other ones that were just straight reissues. The Enterprise E, the Runabout, the 1000 scale Enterprise refit, the 1000 scale Reliant, the 537 Reliant, and of course the 537. Now the 537 refit, I understand not putting any work into. Like, I feel like that is just a pure nostalgia kit because it's not a great kit. It doesn't go together well. It's hard to build. But hey, we've had a lot of requests for this, so here it is. We made some decals, but we didn't fundamentally do anything with the kit except change the base. They added the dome base and rod, which is beautiful. Way better than any bases that ever came with before. The bridge was another one that, they finished it. They made all the pieces. And some great decals. The decals were beautiful on it. So you had this era. It feels like it's a couple of eras. It's launch, improve, and then they've kind of settled into a 2-part system of new kits, a handful of them, and just reissuing old kits. Like, hey, okay, here it is. Here's a new box. There you go. We didn't really do much to it. And some kits don't need a lot. Some need a lot of work. Like with them having done the Excelsior, I'd love to see a Enterprise B reissue with, the 1 or 2 upgraded parts and a set of Aztec decals. And you take a model that was meh at best and turn to something great with relatively few modifications, not a lot of investment to make it happen. So like I said, this is preamble, kind of just and I'm all over the place because I didn't make any notes. I'm just kind of doing this in my head as rememberings of what order things happened in. Let's talk about the good and the bad. And I'm going to start with a new kit. When they did the 1000 scale Romulan Bird of Prey, this is a great kit. I got a video on my YouTube channel of the build-up. It's one of my more popular ones. It goes together so well. The detailing is good, except for the outer rim windows. When you look at the upper half, the windows all have raised frames. And the windows on the leading edge should be raised windows. But they didn't do that. They just made decals. So you get a lot of detail up top. And then when you look at the edge, the detail's gone. It's just smooth with, decal windows. So it's like, okay, we did 90% of the work. They'll be fine with that. Now, I didn't know that at first. I built the model, and then I looked at pictures of the studio model, like, well, there's missing detail. And it might have to do with how the kit was molded. My understanding is there's traditional molding, traditional injection molding, and there's slide molding, which, look, I don't know much about it, but I believe it. You see it on Bandai kits where you've got different colors of plastic on the same sprue. So it's like you can move pieces of the mold in and out. But I don't understand it completely, so take that for what it is. But given how the model kit is made, I suspect traditional injection molding prevented the ability to make those raised window frames because the undercuts would prevent you from getting it out of the mold. I'm not an expert on model molding, but that's my feeling on it. And it's like it's so close. It's so close. You did so good, but then you're like, meh, it's good enough. Then they released the Defiant, the little 1000 scale Defiant, and I mean, with the exception of the etched lines being maybe a little bit too deep, this little model kit is so good. It goes together so easily. They made the Aztec decals for it. They're clear parts if you wanted to light it. And it's like, okay, if there's a flaw on the kit, I'm not aware of it, nor have I heard anyone comment on it. So, I mean, we'll call the 1000 scale Defiant, an absolute win, like just beautiful. But then, fairly recent release, we have the 1000 scale Voyager, which there was a little bit of controversy around this because they originally molded it in just gray, and then my understanding is enough people comment online that they then released not a clear version, but white translucent plastic. Which, truth be told, isn't the worst thing for lighting because you've already got perfectly diffused windows. So great. So first things first, they stumbled by not making it lightable because, Jesus, who wants to drill those windows? They're so small. But then you get into the model. You start building the model kit and you start noticing things. Now, once again, this is still a really good model. But the problem comes down to detailing. On the secondary hull, the recessed areas for the sensor strips have molded in detail. There's a sensor pallet, ahead of the bridge. There's a sensor pallet right behind the bridge, all raised detail. But then the saucer edge is smooth, and you use a decal to simulate the raised stuff. So you have two different textures for the same thing on the same model. And I think the choice to have a seam line right down the saucer edge is, well, that's the biggest reason for this lack of detail. But it is a horribly, horribly bad idea because you lose that detail. Now, like always, aftermarket companies have stepped up, and yeah, you can cut those pieces out and put in aftermarket resin aftermarket resin parts. But I shouldn't have to. It should have just been engineered properly in the first place. Once again, when you're talking about a price point of a model that's about $70, $70, $80, it's not like it was in the 90s where it was like $20 for a model kit. So you kind of missed the mark there. As a whole, it's still a good kit. It looks great on the shelf. You can do things with it. You get the clear plastic kit. You can light it. But it's the same thing. You got the large windows, but it's a thing, and it's just a miss. it's a miss. Like, okay, yeah, we did this. We're going to release this brand new kit. It's going to be great. It's good enough. It's good enough. It's fine. It's no one's going to care about that. And I'm kind of constantly trying to go back and forth between good and bad to provide contrast. Of some things are just, chef's kiss. We got it great. It's wonderful. It's perfect. It's great. But then other ones like, it's fine. Like the 2500 scale Discovery set, Discovery, Shenzhou, and Enterprise. They're small, but they're great. I don't really have much to say. I've built them all, and they're great. They go together easy. The size is good for small shelves, especially if you don't have a lot of space. It's unfortunate there won't be a larger scale Discovery. That kind of sucks, but I also understand with those nacelles. I mean, Jesus, 1000 scale is going to be 3 feet long. And yeah, same thing with the Discovery Enterprise. It's just so good. It's well engineered. It goes together well. Great detailing, and you get these wonderful little shelf models. So yeah. Bang, boom, fucking nailed it. And then you have the 350 Grissom. And I'm going to preamble that by saying that the 1000 scale set of the 1000 scale Grissom and Bird of Prey, same thing, it's a wonderful set. It goes together well. Great detail, like they did the Aztecs for the Grissom. And you just get a beautiful little model kit. They released this. Bird of Prey, USS Grissom, Star Trek 3 kit. And it's great. And people have been asking for a 350 Grissom for a while. So, they make a 350 Grissom. And I was excited. I got it. I opened the box. I took the parts out. I didn't glue it together. I taped it together. So I wanted to see how it all goes together. And they're like, this kit is made for lighting. Great. Clear windows, clear window inserts. I can light this. It didn't come with a hollow rod. Mounting rod. It came with a solid cylinder of, chromed steel. Okay, well, yeah, I can go out and buy brass tube or steel tube or whatnot, but I shouldn't have to. And that's ultimately the point, is you're like, you even says in the box, made for lighting, and then you don't send a hollow tube. It's a small detail, but it's the small details that get you. And the other problem is they didn't make an Aztec decal set for it. This is a 350 scale ship. This is it's a big model. Not huge, but a big model. So, you didn't make an Aztec decal set for it. I mean, it's not like you couldn't. You made one for the 1000 scale. I'm sure you can't just scale one up. Because I have to imagine there's slightly different engineering from one to the other. But I mean, if you took your CADs for the 1000 scale and used that as the base for your 350 scale, by all rights, you should just be able to scale it, but you didn't do it. Not every ship needs Aztec decals, because you can buy paint, because someone developed paint masks, because of course someone developed paint masks. But I shouldn't have to. And this is what I'm getting at, is that you get close, you get so close, and then just leave things behind. Like, people will buy Aztec decal sets. They bought it for the 1350 refit. They buy them for the 1000 scale Strange New Worlds or Discovery Enterprise. They buy them for the 537 Reliant whenever you reissue them. They buy them for the 1000 scale ships. You just did Aztecs for the 1000 scale NX-01 that no one asked for. It's not bad that you did it, because the Aztecs, once again, take a little model, looks kind of good, and make it look great. But why'd you miss the mark on the Grissom? Like, it was a big release, is my understanding. But for experienced modelers, buying paint masks, you had to buy another product. Okay, it's an $80 model kit. And, okay, I got to get paint masks. They're only available from the US, so I got to take into account conversion and shipping and whatnot. So, okay, there's another $50. Okay, now it's a $130 model kit. And I got to buy a brass rod, which isn't a problem, but I either have to find it on Amazon or online and order it, or I have to go to a store and find it. And it's not the cost, it's the convenience factor. Because people who are new to the hobby may not have painting skills, but they can figure out how to do decals. And you fundamentally robbed less skilled modelers of the ability to take something from good to great by not making a supplemental product that matches perfectly with it, that from other model kits people will buy. What was the thinking there? It's from the outside looking in. It's like said, okay, there's a model kit. Wash your hands. You're done with it. It's like sending it with missing pieces. And here's the thing. Here's how you know people will buy Aztec sets that you develop, because the 350 refit and the 1000 scale refit both used to come with decals, Aztec decals, in the package as part of the price point. You took that out, left the price point for the model the same, then charged $50 for an Aztec set. And people bought it because they want their model to look good. And they don't have to look all over the place to find the supplemental products. Because a lot of people don't even know where to find that, especially if they're new to the hobby. So it comes back to, it's like, you're close, you're so close, you decide not to do something, and I don't understand why. So we're back and forth, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Then, last year, the year before, they released the Galileo shuttle. Fantastic kit. Wonderful kit. I got it and I built it right up. I was very, very keen to do it. And there's no, the initial release didn't have an interior. Well, big deal. The original studio model didn't either. So, yeah, fine, great. Goes together so well, so easy. It's a bit complicated at the impulse engine at the back. Just the way everything kind of goes together. And I'm not super happy with my fit. But all in all, it went together extremely well. It's a great size. It looks great on a shelf. Galileo Shuttlecraft, another home run. And then they made an interior kit for it. So if you already had the model, you can buy the interior kit, or you can just buy the whole model with the interior kit. Great, just a lot of effort. Why so much effort in that and not so much effort into something else? It's the managerial thinking seems off for, once again, I can only speak for sci-fi specifically. You got these things where you make these weird choices, but then we're talking about good. Reissued the Vorcha class from TNG. Now the model kit from 88, 89, whatever, it was kind of pretty good right out of the box. It just goes together. Good detail. And because the ship got a number of repaints over the years, you can paint it 3 or 4 different ways. So they just reissued that. Was just a straight out of the box reissue, which makes perfect sense. I don't know what you're going to add to it. And the Cardassian Galler class, that was just a reboxed kit. Like, hey, we're going to reissue this. But they made Aztec decals for it. And you take something from bland to amazing. And it's a supplemental set to go with the model kit. So yes, I'm ragging on the Grissom a lot. Just make Aztecs. So all this to say, so it's back and forth. It's like something really good, then something kind of okay. Something really good, something kind of okay. They just did Wonderfest, and they're reissuing the 1400 scale Enterprise D, which it's fine. It's a good enough kit. It's old, it's an old kit. They've been reissuing it since 1987. I think they're doing the white translucent plastic, but that's about it. But I suspect fundamentally it's going to be another straight repop, and they're doing the Generations Aztec decals. So that's coming back out. They got the Cerritos coming out from Lower Decks, which I think is going to be fun. Nice size. Reissuing the Discovery Enterprise as the Strange New World Enterprise, so it's got some, a changed up saucer, some other changes to the models. So, if this is your last chance to get the Discovery version. If you see one, buy it, and buy the decals, buy the Aztec decals where you can, because once the Strange New Worlds version's out, the other one's gone. So yeah, they also are doing the Katinga version from Star Trek VI, the Kronos one, which for the most part is a reissue of the Katinga class from the 1350 from Star Trek the Motion Picture. But obviously there's different parts on this. Like the engines are different. They're made for lighting, whereas the original wasn't. And there's a photo etch set, or they're including gold foil decals. And that's a unique idea. Like, hey, you don't want to buy the photo etch, you can still make your kit look kind of good with this. So they developed with Paragraphics the photo etch set for the 350 Kronos 1 that's coming out. It is out. It was August release. Still haven't seen it in Canada, so probably September. But yeah, so you got the Cerritos, Strange New Worlds Enterprise, re-releasing the D7 from the original series. Like these ones are gonna like the original series ones, so they re-released K7 as well. They're gonna keep reissuing those because those are kind of always a bulletproof kit. They've been making them since 1967. So yeah, it's nice to go back to take it off the market for 5-10 years, reissue it. Great. I actually bought a K7. I've got a lot of nostalgia for that kit, but if you go back to the first episode of this podcast, you'll know why. Now, that certainly doesn't cover every sci-fi Star Trek model kit that Round 2 has reissued. That's just kind of a collection. Like the Deep Space Nine was a reissue, but they added a Defiant. And it was great. And they added window decals. Fantastic. It's such a small detail. It's such a small thing to add. And then your model doesn't look bland and boring anymore. It's such a simple thing. And the little 2500 scale Defiant to go with it too. It's great. You get to just pop it on. You can have it separate or you can do it. And then when they did the most recent reissue, they did a Keldon class to go with it. So one more little model. It's such a small improvement, but it just kind of brings it to life. Runabout was a straight reissue, but that kit was always pretty solid. I mean, the way the nacelles go together is a bit sketchy. The seams aren't great. Unfortunately, there's no more 420 scale Defiant. They did a reissue, and from my understanding, the mold was literally broken, so whatever Defiants, large-scale Defiants are out there, that's all there is. Yeah, the Enterprise C has been reissued in clear. The biggest point I'm trying to make here is, like I said at the beginning, if you look at my post individually, it seems like I just hating on Round 2. That's not the case. I really like Round 2 because they produce kits I like. My disappointment comes from the fact that you could do better. You make choices that make them less than they can be, and it feels like you don't care. Like, give me your money. It's not good enough. Oh well, that's all we're doing. And I think that having the Star Trek line, like, I understand that sci-fi is a niche and a niche. So, I mean, your sales aren't even going to be close to what you get in cars and trucks and slot cars and all that stuff. I understand the economics of it. But it doesn't make it suck any less. Because when it comes to sci-fi models, Round 2 is good, great, but they could be excellent. And there's choices made that keep that from happening. And then you get the comparisons between, like, well, Bandai or Revell Germany. Like, so I haven't seen this one yet. I actually have a Revell Germany Razor Crest I haven't opened yet. But my understanding is that Round 2 did their Razor Crest. It came out a year later than the Revell one, and it wasn't as good. Whether it be lack of detail, like surface detail is soft compared to the other one. Once again, this is what I'm told. The interior on the AMT one is lacking relative to the Revell one, and they're both around the same price point. And if it turns out the Revell Germany one is the superior product for the same price point, it's hard to go from one to the other. So, like, the question is, why are the decisions that are being made, why are they being made? I mean, we may never know. And Jamie Hood is fairly communicative, but they stopped doing collector model blog. Last thing they did was a whole bunch of articles about the shuttlecraft Galileo, and then they stopped. Now I understand that, look, social media sucks. It's a full-time job. And writing articles is time-consuming. I understand all that. And I'm not taking that away from people who are already busy, but, maybe you need to look into a social media manager who takes care of all these things. Because, yeah, the amount of information getting out is less than it was, 4 or 5 years ago. Like, yeah, we get some pictures from Wonderfest, but in the past, the collector model blog had test shots, so you know what you're getting into. Anyway, all that to say, like I said, what it fundamentally comes down to is I do like Round 2. It might not seem like it sometimes. I really do like Round 2 because they're producing stuff that I want. Is it perfect? No. Well, I mean, sometimes it is. Does it suck when it's not perfect? Absolutely. Absolutely, because choices were made that prevent it from being great, and that's unfortunate. especially when there's a lot of competition out there. Not so much for Star Trek because no one else. I mean, Revell Germany has some licensing, but for the most part, it's all in the hands of, because Mobius. I believe Mobius isn't doing the Star Trek Beyond models anymore. The Kelvin and the Franklin. So that leaves round 2 is pretty much the only game in town. And you're so close to being truly amazing. And that's, so it's not that I'm mad. I'm disappointed because so much work has been so good. But we're modelers, and we soldier on. I mean, we look at, it's not like there isn't precedent for this. It's only, in the last 10 years or so that there's been more focus on being accurate. And look, fundamentally a model is a representation of something, so they're never going to be perfect, but when they're almost perfect, they're pretty awesome. But we're used to having to modify things ourselves or find alternatives in the aftermarket. But like I keep saying, I shouldn't have to. I should be able to go to the hobby shop and buy, okay, there's the model, okay, there's the Classic Enterprise and the 350 scale. Great, I'm going to buy that. And I want to make this is before, like, the most recent issue has all the pieces in it, but prior to that, it came as a production version. You had to buy pieces like the supplemental parts pack to make it the Pilot 1 or Pilot 2 version, and the lighting kit. And there were even weathering decals in the first release. I should be able to go to the hobby shop and just, okay, here's the 8 things I want to build this one model, take my money. But that doesn't happen. And I feel like that's a bit of a miss on round 2's part, because it's not just not having model kits. Like, for example, the Katinga, the 350 Katinga, when they released it, it had a lighting kit. I've never seen a local hobby shop in the city here have the lighting kit. So are they not buying it, or are the round 2 sales reps not pushing it? Because there's nothing worse than buying a model. Okay, I'm going to go hobby shop and buy this model. Then you get home, and now I'm going to go online and buy the lighting kit. Well, I might as well not go to the hobby shop at all and just order everything online and have it delivered right to my door. And then that hurts brick and mortar stores. There's fewer brick and mortar stores, which isn't just about model kits. It's about supplies, paint, glue, just everything to make it work. And when those stores are gone, so it's a bit of a cascade effect. By missing the mark, one, not creating a supplemental piece, that's potential income lost. By not pushing to have the supplemental pieces in stores with the model kits, that's a loss. That's a loss for the store more so than the company. But it's all these things stacked up on top of each other. Anyway, I have ranted about round 2 for far too long already. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. If you have the same opinions, differing opinions, hit me up. I do answer all my social medias. You can find me at Jason's Model Shop on everything except Twitter. And hit me up. Now, I do respond to everyone on the socials, but because how life is, sometimes the turnaround time can be a long time. Now, if you want to get priority access to me, check out our Patreon. Jason's Model Shop on Patreon. I've got 3 different levels. And the first level, the $2 level, is part of that is you get priority access to me. So you contact me through Patreon, I will get back to you as fast as I possibly can. And there's some other tiers with other benefits. So hopefully you check that out. But ultimately, I care more about you enjoying the podcast. So send me feedback, what you like, what you don't like, so we can, these first handful of episodes, we can work through it and make it rock solid and entertaining and something that people want to tune into. Because that's the goal. Because part of modeling is community. I said that in the pilot episode, community helped me. And we need each other, not just for our own, emotional well-being, but, hey, it's nice to be able to have someone to be like, hey, I'm doing this thing, I don't understand, this friend or this acquaintance that you met through such and such has this knowledge and willing to share with you. So yes, check me out on Patreon for priority access. Otherwise, I hope you'll come back for the next episode. I think I'm going to talk about motivation. And, the equivalent of writer's block for model builders. And so yeah, I think we're going to get into that next time. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. What's there to say? I told you where to find me. I told you how to get in contact with me. I hope to hear from you all. And as always, remember to have fun, because you're going to need it.